So, Marina, welcome to Thailand. We are so honored that you can be here with us.
You know, I love to be here. Thailand, it's like there's something so much softness of the culture, smiles on the streets, the temperature, who is just a body you saw. It's just great to be here.
And you've been to Thailand many times, many times.
You know, the first time I ever been in Thailand was '83, which is a long time ago, and which I love to see the changes, how Thailand from '83 and Thailand 2018. How many years is that?
Oh, 30, 40 years.
It's went through lots of changes.
Yeah. And you travel so much, but I've been told that this time you stay in Thailand for 3 weeks. So you must like Thailand very much.
You know, it's so true because, especially in my job, I am really invited to do the work. There was so many times I would just go from airport to the hotel, from the hotel to the museum, do the work, back to the hotel, back to the airport, not even walk on the end of the street. But if we are talking about Nordic countries, which is cold and rainy, and and people look so grim, a little bit depressed, I would say. I always think about Swedish people, Nordic people. They have the Swedish depression, they have the early winter depression, late summer depression. There's always something wrong. And then you come here and you don't want to leave. I always like to combine the free time, to have some time that actually I'm not doing anything but observing country, going to places I've never been.
But I think so many things that you mentioned that you like, not just the environment or the people, but it's the food, it's the religion, and it's the hospitality that I think make what your project is Art and Life can blend together.
The just amount of spirituality this country radiates. It's so necessary, especially in the time that people don't believe in anything anymore. And I think, even if you go the most busy district, the most busy street, but there will be little tree, and there will be candle, and there will be incense, and there will be little Buddha statue, something just to remember of the spirituality that all we have in ourselves. And then you go to America, and then you have to listen to Trump on television, and then you don't believe in humanity anymore. So amount of spirituality Thai people have in their own life, we should take from this as much as possible and put in our own life.
And you've been here maybe nearly 2 weeks. Everywhere you go, you're a film star, you're a princess. Everybody runs to you, even the kids, the young people. Why? They love you so much.
Do you think because I have such a big nose? Because nose so big, so to say, oh my God. I feel this love. And I don't know, how do people know about my work? This must be social media, must be the Instagram, internet, because the one phenomena I have in my life, which I never knew that would happen, is to have extremely young public. My public, when they come to a museum, all these curators get shocked, or in the lectures, because they normally don't see these faces. They're too young. The faces in the museums are always people come for the kind of art jet set. But I actually open art to everybody, especially kids who who go to the museum, they come to see me. But I want to give them attention, I want to give them message, I want to give them content they can actually take to their own life.
I think like the other day when you gave the lecture, we experienced this ageless, you're ageless. And the kids who come up and ask questions, and it was a full house that night, and a lot of them cried. Why?
It's something that I almost took naturally, this function, after working half a century in this field of the Dr. Abramovic. So I am this, not just having the Abramovic method, but Dr. Abramovic will ask the you know, and answer all kinds of questions. You know, the kids who come with such a pure heart and asking you the questions they would be afraid maybe to ask very intellectual artist who is so full of himself and it will kind of, you know, they will be afraid. So they will come and ask, you know, especially young artists, how I can be rich and famous. This is exactly the answer that I told him, immediately go home and do something else. Because art is not about rich and famous. Art is about believing what you're doing in the most honest way. So, and they know that from me they will get really the honest answer. And then the crying, it's always to do with the emotions that work provoke, you know, because they know that I'm not cheating. They know what you see there is true, because I spent my entire life proving it. And that kind of they count kind of honesty bring my vulnerability open to them, and they're vulnerable too. But they don't like to show vulnerability to everybody, but they like to show to me because I can access through my vulnerability their own, and then the connection is made. The connection is made. It's so beautiful, you know. But sometimes I don't know what to do because I'm going to. I just come from airport, I'm deadly tired, jet lag, and there was a young girl around to me in bathroom, and she's crying, and you know, she see, I'm just a normal person like everybody else, but she see me plus the work, plus dedication, plus the life, plus the world, and so many projections that she just, you know, plaster on me, so I have to deal with that.
Yeah. But yourself, in your youth, you struggle a lot, because in terms of, you know, your mother was in the art scene, and you yourself, the kind of work you do, and in those days, in the 60s, 70s, performance art may be very difficult.
Wow, you know, it was so difficult, and life was so difficult, and I also, looking back, I don't want to be any other way. I think it's important. I think when you everything comes to you on the plate, you become spoiled and you don't appreciate it. You have to fight for your ideas. And you have to really, just in the lecture you mentioned, it was such a wonderful for me to talk to young people, and I just get this idea to tell them that really an artist have to function in two ways. Function as a servant of society, but also function as a warrior in order to break the limits and push the borders and do things that was not done before.
But you broke so many barriers. You broke so many rules. You know, like in artistry, when we have to study artistry, especially Western, you see people names like Boyce, Conchi, all these names, Anderson, all these names. So Abramovic. You know, first of all, these female artists who break so many barriers, and in this context, in history of art, you're so prominent.
You know, when I was a young kid, I was always first in the alphabet, Abramovic, A and B, you know. So I hate my name so much because I was always asked first. And now it looks like it's advantage. When you open the catalog, I'm the first. So, you know,
like Bangkok Biennale, you open, you see.
Not so bad. But breaking barriers and breaking your own limits, because we create our own limits, is so necessary. Because the worst for an artist is to repeat himself. And very soon, when you reach one's kind of success, or a certain amount of success, and the public like it, and the galleries can sell it well, this kind of work, you become lazy. You start kind of settle into your own fame, and you produce the same thing, because everybody likes it, no effort. But that's the moment that you immediately have to, you know, push into something else. That's the moment when you are in the biggest danger, because repeating yourself also is losing respect for yourself.
It's like documentation is very important, and in those days, performance. In those days, it's very hard to record. So some performances you have them all recorded.
Actually, very early, I was thinking not to record any performances, because the performance is life, the life form of art, and have to be kind of stay living. But very soon, especially maybe because of my background, I come from communist country where everything was documented, all the revolution in so many ways, so many examples. So and my mother being the director of the museum of art and revolution with another, obsession of putting everything to catalog, and her obsession writing notes for everything we do, especially in the morning, how many French words I have to learn in the morning, what I have to do. So there was always this instructions. So I actually, even if I didn't want to, really copy my mother and start documenting very early everything. And I have all the rights of all my work, and I document it. And I remember when art historians come to see, they say that I'm one of the most organized artists ever.
Then I met you again at the Eshiko Sumariko, when you made the dream house.
Yeah.
That was around 2000. And then, I don't know, I had to build up the courage to go and say hello to you. And that's when we got talking, and I said, do you come to Thailand? We would love you to come to Thailand. And you said, you come all the time.
This was the time I was coming very often.
Yeah, and I said that, at the time we have no money. Chulalongkorn University, we have no budget. But if you come, can you do something? And to my shock and surprise, you agreed to come. And you stayed maybe a couple of weeks.
But one thing that I have to tell you that for me is so important to go to the cultures, which is nothing to do with my own culture. When I remember there's such a vivid memory of Thailand, when I first time came, I went to the market, and 80% of the vegetables and fruits and animals, I didn't know what they are. I just didn't know. And this is so mind-opening for me. I will every day buy the fruit that I don't know, bring to my little living room, and then I will open it and say, is this animal is going to jump, or is the vegetables, or is it salty, or is it sweet? And this is the way I learn. And to me, that's something that I love. And your culture is so much to discover, really. It's improving.
But then you came back again after the tsunami. We asked you to come, and it was like 2,000 people just got killed. And then we went to Phuket. And Phuket was deserted because nobody came, no tourists came, and the Novotel have a spare room. So we asked you to stay and do some research. And in the end, you produced this amazing work, God Punish You.
Yeah, because I really think that was a very important work for me. Why the gods of the sea punish such a incredible, violent way, the Thailand. So I think I want them to whip them. So I actually whipped the sea and tried to conduct the sea and create the smaller waves. And that was really something like artists against the gods. What is our chance? That's the open question.
Then you asked me to find 200 boys to whip the sea. So we had to.
Because they're much better in the whips than me. Because you're specialized on these very big whips. And these big whips ritualistically, you use them in the rituals, especially for some holy, the special ceremonies, the spiritual ones, to clean the air, to purify the space.
But please tell us about your view on the Bangkok Art Biennale. You managed to go and see many works in temples and many places. What's your impression?
What would take the most attention for me was in the temples area. Because, it's the temple area is so protected. It's really something to do with the very specific religious practice. And to first get the permissions and then invite artists and to be inspired by this kind of situation and create the work which is not just copy of the tradition, but actually bridging to something which is new, modern, and contemporary. That's very important. Because, when you're living in this kind of world and you're far from the West culture, the young artists start copying West culture. And very easily they start making the pieces like, small Damien Hirst, small Jeff Koons, small this, small that, which actually doesn't come from their own culture and doesn't root it in their own tradition. So to me, to see that kind of work, to see what is new there, it was mind-blowing.
And, many works, you talk about the young artists, but many works, in fact, influenced by you. Like, you know, many artists are inspired by the performance that you've done over the years.
But you know, probably it's very simple answer to this question, because I'm doing this half century. So, you know, after half century, somehow there is a lots of material to look at. You know, many of my generation artists stopped already in the late 70s, because in the beginning of 80s, there was a pressure from the galleries, pressure from the art market, pressure from the museums. It was nothing to sell and nothing to show. It was performance art is immaterial form of art. So, you know, after it's been shown, only what is left is memory. So what you do with that? So lots of artists been pressured to actually start producing work and start going back to installations, paintings, video, photography. And I didn't. So somehow you have to kind of, how you call, rely on me.
And recently, you know, so many museums, whether Guggenheim, MoMA, it's going to be Royal Academy in 2020, all these big institutions, they're now so interested to have you and do your performance, long durational, all these activities. It's come to the point where, you know, the stature of yourself as a figure, now you become institutionalized, you feel?
I don't think so. I only think that I find the formula how we can see performance work that is not boring. Because, you know, before, if you make exhibition of performance work, what you have the bad video, which was not great quality in the 70s and 80s. It was all gray, and you have some small documentation, because many artists didn't actually pay attention to photographic work, so you don't have much to show, you know. And I invent few things. I invent reperformance, so that you can reperform the classical pieces, and I invent also the performances will take a long time. So, you know, that involve the long duration, because every museum in the world is open 8 hours. So when you come to the museum, you see something which is 8 hours every day. If the show is 3 months, it's 3 months. If it's 4 months, it's 4 months. So if you museum, you become from something static into something which is living entity.
When we discussed New York of this Bangkok Art Biennale project, and you mentioned MAI, you know, now it's happening that at the Bangkok Art Biennale, there's also MAI for 3 weeks. And when we open, now we get 10,000 people a day. You know, like now.
Which is a very big number, really big number.
So much interest.
And also people are, you know, bringing the friends, and bringing the friends, because there's so much to see. First of all, the intervention is 2 parts in mind. One is to prepare the public with their own experience, how to train them to see long durational work, that they cross just the corridor, and they see long durational work with young artists. So they have the tools of how to concentrate on something to see on the other side. So they have a complete experience. And then they get so incredibly emotional, they bring next people. So I'm seeing now very much the people are coming again and again and again. Okay. And because it's never ending, because the performance work, you have the continuity, and you see how each performance is developing. And then you wanted to see that. So you keep coming. It's like here, once you see the show, you see it. You're not coming again to see the same thing, because it's static. This is a moving show. These Burmese artists take so much attention. I mean, yesterday there was I don't know where the woman, she was looking, Thai woman, with a little shopping bag. She was standing there, I took photo of this. She was standing there and just looking at him and crying and crying. I mean, if you just look at this man, you see everything through his eyes, all the genocide, all the suffering, all the violence, all happened.
So Marina, my last question is that we feel that you're so happy when you come to Thailand, and Thai people feel so honored that you come here. Do you have plans in the future to come back to Thailand, whether to do work or for holiday or relaxation?
I would like, you know, which is my favorite thing. I don't do holidays anymore in my life. Which I do research. Okay. I love research. The idea of research, it's like you become somebody who take one theme and research about. To me, to research more in Thailand would be wonderful. And I've never been enough in the north part of Thailand. So I would like to find out some tribes, Thai tribes, so there's still not many people know about.
Because you went to Laos and then, you know, northern part you can,
Yes,
of Thailand.
and to really go more down,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
nordic part, and to have some kind of grant to have little research, and then out of this research, whatever I find out, I make the work, and I think by now I really will be good time to give back something to Thai people, to give them work specifically inspired by their own country.
Fantastic. Marina Abramovic, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thai
you.
way.